Hey, this is great. I mean, this is a real privilege for myself. I've never been here myself, and so just to even get a picture of it, it's okay.
It's tight. You need one.
Okay, just put it under the bag. It's not a problem. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Well, just to get a picture of what's going on here. I mean, just imagine coming down that road, and then they get riled up and they come rushing into this theater, and you can just see the hustle and bustle. You got to remember, like put 250,000 people in here too. I mean, it's just like it's happening, and as they're shouting over there, we're gonna hear it from here. So I'm gonna read the text of scripture and then just bring out just a couple things here for us. So this is Acts 19, verse 21. Now, after these events, Paul resolved in the Spirit to pass through Macedonia and Achaia and to go to Jerusalem, saying, after I've been there, I must also see Rome. And having sent to Macedonia 2 of his helpers, you guys noticing the theme of let's send people back and forth? Macedonia. 2 of his helpers, Timothy and Erastus, he himself stayed in Asia, right here, for a while. About that time, there was no little disturbance concerning the way. For a man named Demetrius, a silversmith, who made silver shrines of Artemis, brought no little business to the craftsmen. These he gathered together with the workmen in similar trades and said, men, you know that it's from this business we have our wealth. And you see and hear, not only in Ephesus, but in all of Asia, this Paul has persuaded and turned away a great many people. We get little whispers of the impact of the gospel. The fact that here's this guy here, I mean, if there was a couple people coming to Christ, it's like whatever. But there's something of a movement. It's beyond this city. It's pushed into these other cities. And then it's like he's the head of the guildsmen. And he gathers, it's like business is in decline. It's time to have a union meeting. And he calls them all in. And he says, you see what's going on? And he says, but almost all of Asia, this Paul is persuaded and turned many away, a great many people, saying that gods made with hands are not gods. By the way, that's straight out of the message that he preaches in Athens. And a message that he would preach all over. That gods made with hands are not gods. I mean, if your God can be threatened, he's not a God. If your God is in danger of being exterminated or made extinct, he's not a God. And there's a danger not only that this trade of ours may come into disrepute, but also that the temple of the great goddess Artemis may be counted as nothing, and that she may even be deposed from her magnificence, she whom all Asia and the world worship. I mean, just think about that for a second. I mean, if your God can be deposed, he's not a God. When they heard this, they were enraged, started crying out, great is Artemis of the Ephesians. And just hear it. Great is Artemis of the Ephesians. Great is Artemis of the Ephesians. So the city was filled with confusion. Let's say that at first it was maybe about 5,000 people. That theater can seat up to 25,000 people. Imagine if just there were 5,000. It wouldn't be soon before. I mean, in a town like this, you start hearing something, you're going to go check it out, don't you think? And so the city was filled with confusion, and they rushed together into the theater, dragging with them Gaius and what? Oh, thank you. Aristarchus, Macedonians, who were Paul's companions in travel. Hey, isn't that great? More Macedonians. Gotta love the Macedonians. But when Paul wished to go in among the crowd, the disciples would not let him. So Paul's like, oh no, my buds, I'm gonna go help them. And even some of the Asiarchs who were friends of his sent to him and were urging him not to venture into the theater. It's probably kind of smart. Now some cried out one thing, some another, for the assembly was in confusion, right? What's going on? I don't know. We got this, we got that. And most of them did not know why they had come together. By the way, you gotta love Luke. Luke puts the most wonderful things in Acts. Some of the crowd prompting Alexander. They're like nudging him. Alexander, you kind of make the case. whom the Jews had put forward. Remember, the Jews don't like Paul. Then you've also got the Ephesians don't like Paul. So he's taken it on both ends. And Alexander, right? So he's like, okay, I'll make the case against Paul. And Alexander, motioning with his hand, wants to make a defense to the crowd. But when they recognized he was a Jew, for about 2 hours they all cried with one voice. Ready? Great is Artemis of the Ephesians! Great is Artemis of the Ephesians! And when the town clerk had quieted the crowd, he said, Men of Ephesus, who is there who does not know that the city of the Ephesians is temple keeper of the great Artemis, and of the sacred stone that fell from the sky? Seeing then that those things cannot be denied, you ought to be quiet and do nothing rash, for you have brought these men here who are neither sacrilegious or blasphemers of our goddess. If therefore Demetrius and the craftsmen with him have a complaint against anyone, the courts are open, and there are proconsuls. Let them bring charges against one another. But if you seek anything further, it shall be settled in a regular assembly, for we really are in danger of being charged with rioting today, since there was no cause that we can give to justify this commotion. And when he had said these things, he dismissed the assembly. Lucas was preaching in Acts. We're going through Acts at Gospel Grace, and he got a ChatGPT image, and it was kind of it looked straight out ChatGPT, and on one side he had Artemis, Team Artemis. It was like a scoreboard.
Electronic scoreboard.
Yeah, it was an electronic scoreboard. All the words are misspelled, like ChatGPT does. And so on one side you got, Team Artemis, and the other side, the other scoreboard, it was like Christian. And under Team Artemis, it was a big 0, and under Team Christian, it was 2 point something billion of people that would claim to be Christians. And you just look at all of this and all the grandeur. I mean, I can't fathom. I really didn't know that it was that many man hours to do one of those pillars. I mean, it's just so fascinating how hard one pillar is to make. And you see all the construction and all the, really this would have been such an absolutely beautiful city. And the majority of them given over to worship a false god. And here, 2,000 years later, what is of Artemis? Only what we can rebuild for her. And yet you look at what God can do and what God has done and what God will do in the future. And I think there's a great hope that the message of Jesus Christ is something that's very relevant. Because want to know something? Every religion outside of Christianity preaches some form of a works righteousness. And it never works, and it eventually runs out, and you eventually get worn out because the law just compresses and compacts, and it's only the good work that's done through the finished work of Jesus Christ, His grace, that sets us free. And I think that even as we continue to go through this, there's an intellectual side to this, isn't it? Like I've been so blessed even today, just picturing the streets and all that. I mean, it's just wonderful. But there's something more of substance. Why are we here? Because this is where, when Jesus Christ said, go into the world, He said, preach in Jerusalem, Samaria, and then really to the uttermost parts of the world. It's just that the domino effect, the ripple effect, the pebble in the lake effect of the gospel. And this was a part of where that went. And sometimes it's even where it needs to go again. And so we're thankful for the finished work of Jesus Christ. Well, does anyone want to add anything?
Yeah, I had a pastor once point out that there's 10,000 religions in the world that say do, and there's one that says done.
Yeah. Finished.
I mean, as you guys think, let your eyes never forget this. I mean, you are looking at one of the sections of Scripture that you would have heard them right here shouting, great is Diana of the Ephesians. The whole city would have. I mean, it very well could have been that Paul was like coming out of the library here into the agora, and he said, I'm going in. And the leaders, the Asiarchs who had become his friends, says, no, dude, you're not going in there. They'll rip you apart. And maybe he got stopped some over here. and then you probably follow the council member, the CEO of the city. He's like, I'm going in. I got to talk to these people. And finally, when he gets them quiet, it gets quiet for a second, and he begins to talk, and you can hear one voice through, and really the acoustics there. He's convincing them, we got to disperse here. Okay, so let this be engraved in your mind. It was all right here. The Bible that you read is history. Now, Will also made the comment, okay, earlier in this city not only is much beloved because of Paul and his work, but one of my favorite disciples, the Apostle John, who wrote the Gospel of John, he ended up pastoring in this city. And add to him what you...
And Polycarp would say that that John actually then brought his mother, that brought Jesus' mother Mary here.
Yep. So Mary...
Remember when Jesus was on the cross, he said, John, this is now your mother,
Yep.
Mary, this is your son. And so, tradition, at least by a first century writer, Polycarp would say, and he did that and brought her here.
Yeah. So all these streets that you just walked, everything that you're seeing here is the gospel was incredibly powerful to the point of the story right before that event was where so many people were turning to the gospel that they burned their magic books. Okay, library here, they burned their magic books that added up to 50,000 pieces of silver. That's why these guys who were in charge of the silver guilds were like, our money's going away. People are not buying these anymore. Power of the gospel, and whenever you see it, you're going to have opposition. And there was great opposition, but you know what? The gospel continued to go forth. So let's do this. Take 1 minute, okay? We won't talk. Maybe do it yourself, but you take a moment if you want to pray, if you want to look at it, but get a good visual for about a minute.